It's my favorite segment of the week. It is the Steelers Talk mailbag here in Week 10 as the Pittsburgh Steelers prepare to take on the Los Angeles Chargers on Sunday Night Football in the City of Angels this weekend. And I got your questions here today, guys. We got a lot of questions with Super Chats, so thank you guys so much for all of your donations and all that great stuff. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already before we get into the questions. Because if you guys want to join the most interactive Steelers community here on YouTube, we have over 100,000 subscribers that bleed black and gold. We have weekly mailbags like this one. We have weekly live shows every Tuesday and Thursday. We go live for every single Steelers game where you guys can come hang out with us and talk ball. And we do community posts every single day on this channel, 2 videos a day talking Steelers. So if you guys want to join the most interactive Steelers YouTube channel anywhere here on YouTube for Steelers fans that bleed black and gold, make sure you click that subscribe button right now. All right, so we got Tink McGathy with a 5. Says, did we pick up Broderick Martin from Kansas City practice squad? Read that today. Yes, we did. According to Jerry Dulac, this week, the Steelers were trying to pick up a veteran defensive tackle via a trade before the trade deadline after the injury to Daniel Ekuale, who is a big-time rotational run defender for the Steelers this year, out for the season with a torn ACL. So that sucks, and obviously the Steelers have been looking for a replacement. Martin is a former third-round pick, a lot of talent there, over 320 pounds. He's obviously on the active roster now because they poached him from the practice squad in Kansas City. So certainly excited to see what he can do with that size and kind of talent profile. $2 from Anime Video says, which Steelers Super Bowl team was better, 06 or 09? Certainly 09, in my opinion. 06 obviously was kind of like the underdog team, which was a really special run, obviously, with the bus, riding off into the sunset and all that stuff. But the 09 team, man, first of all, an incredible game. James Harrison, returning that 99-yard, pick six. Big Ben's clutch drive, Santonio's catch. That defense was legendary. As Mike Tomlin likes to say, that defense was responsible for the player safety initiative in the National Football League because they hit so damn hard. I got to say, man, the 09 team has a special place in my heart. $2 from Bernard says, who's better, Aaron Rodgers or Dan Marino? I'll give it to A-Rod. I know, some of the older people will say Marino changed the game and all that stuff, but I'll also say Rodgers changed the game quite a bit with his out-of-structure playmaking. You listen to a lot of the quarterbacks in the league that are kind of coming up, like they grew up watching Aaron Rodgers and they're inspired by Aaron Rodgers, just like A-Rod was probably inspired by Dan Marino, right? So, obviously it's a cycle with these guys the mentors of each other and all that stuff, and you're passing down what you know. And that's why Rodgers says he wants to play here in Pittsburgh. He wanted to come back is because he wants to share his knowledge of the game and pass it down to the next generation, which I think is a pretty cool thing. But for me, Bernard, I'm going with Aaron Rodgers. He's a top 5 QB of all time, in my opinion. Richard Castillo says, I would have loved to have Jacoby Myers, but I think MVS will be a good fit. And this is kind of exactly how I feel about the situation, guys. I would have really liked to get Jacoby Myers, and personally, if I were in charge of the Steelers, I maybe would have given up a 4th and a 5th-round pick even maybe to get a guy like Jacoby Myers. And I know he would have been a 1-year rental, but that doesn't mean you couldn't have signed him to another contract, right, guys? You got Jacoby, who's got this really great complementary skill set, or it would have been really complementary with what the Steelers already have, because they got 2 true deep threats in DK and Calvin. And if you're trying to play more 3 wide receiver sets, getting a guy that's a big body, tough, physical route runner like Jacoby Myers, who has excellent hands, would be the perfect piece to add to this room. But obviously the price tag was a little bit too high for Omar Khan, and frankly, I really trust Omar Khan with those draft picks. He has done a phenomenal job drafting as the GM of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do in years to come. So scale it for me down there in the comment section. What's your confidence level in Omar Khan as the Steelers GM? Scale of 0 to 100, 0 meaning no confidence at all. He sucks, to 100 meaning I have absolute confidence in the con artist. This will be the pinned comment on today's show, so in just a second here, I'm going to let you guys know about an awesome opportunity to get a great piece of Steelers memorabilia. And while I talk about that, you guys can go down there and give me a number between 0 and 100. And now you guys have an opportunity here to get a 2025 Pittsburgh Steeler roster signature football here when you use our link, chatsports.com/signature. Now, I want to make abundantly clear, these are not real signatures, all right? They're laser engraved on the football, But, what's great about that is you still get the signatures, but it drives down the price quite a bit. So you can get every single signature on the Pittsburgh Steelers roster for the 2025 season and take home a piece of Steelers football history, at least for this season. For $50 is the price tag right now when you go chatsports.com/signature. So if you want something really cool for your Steelers man cave, if you want something that's a great gift for your husband or your wife that loves Steelers football, whatever the case may be, go chatsports.com/signature. That link is down in the comments and description of today's show. It's a really, really cool piece, and I think a pretty reasonable price for something that would be really cool to display wherever you want to display it. So again, chatsports.com/signature is the link. We get part of the proceeds for every purchase as well, so you're helping out the channel. So if you're interested in this, again, go chatsports.com/signature and make it yours today. $5 from Kevin Royce, who says, do you think we should line up Mount Washington in the backfield on goal line situations? It's a fun idea, Kevin. It really is. Washington is a big body, and, some of the things that I've noticed about him when he gets the football and he's running after the catch, it's really hard to bring down. I mean, he usually moves the pile forward. So if you need just 1 yard, Washington might be a good guy to be able to do that. But also, I really like the way that they use him on the tush push. I mean, he's just so goddamn strong pushing Connor Hayward forward, or maybe that's the thing that they should be doing, right? So very interesting idea there, Kevin. I like it quite a bit. $5 from Enzo. It says, if we get Asante Samuel Jr., who is getting bumped from the 53-man roster, and how do you think they scheme the defense with him being plugged in? I think the defense schematically doesn't change all that much, Enzo, especially if they're going to run a similar system to what they ran against the Colts. They played a lot more zone and a lot more man match than they did true man coverage against the Colts compared to their other football games this year. And frankly, Darius Slay is a better fit for, the man match zone heavy system that the Steelers ran, which is why I think he played his best game of the season against the Colts. It wasn't perfect, and I certainly think Asante Samuel Jr. would be an upgrade. But honestly, Samuel, kind of fits in the same kind of system that Darius Slay does, only he's a better player and younger and could be a longer-term option. So certainly would take Asante Samuel Jr. over Darius Slay if the opportunity presents itself. But I guess we'll see what team he ends up deciding to go to in the weeks to come. $5 from Tanker says, I am worried about the Chargers slot receivers. Keenan Allen has torched us in the past. How do you think schematically we can slow them down? Well, they did something last week, Tanker, where they played a coverage called one double slot, which is pretty much cover one man, but they double the slot receiver. And last week, that slot receiver is Josh Downs, who's one of the best route-running slot receivers in the game. So what they would do is they'd put a DB, usually their nickel corner, Brandon Echols, in outside leverage to take away the flat and to take away the out routes, that sort of stuff. But they would put Patrick Queen, the extra defender, on inside leverage on him. So if he broke inside on a slant, Patrick would be right there to take it away. That's certainly something that they can deploy yet again. They played that coverage multiple times against the Colts this past weekend, and it worked most of the time. So obviously the Chargers have a lot of slot weapons, like Ladd McConkey, their excellent receiver, plays in the slot too. Keenan obviously takes time in the slot as well. And then Rondé Gadsden, their excellent rookie tight end, plays a lot as a slot receiver. So, certainly different body types and different types of guys you're going to have to guard. It has to be a big part of the game plan defensively for the Steelers this week. Now, make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already. We still got more questions to get to here on the Steelers Talk mailbag. But if you want to support the channel today, the real ones know clicking that thumbs up icon is the easiest way to help us out. It tells the YouTube algorithm that Steelers fans are enjoying this content, that they should push this video out to more Steelers fans like yourselves, which gets new eyeballs on the channel, which leads to more subscribers, which leads to more likes, and so on and so on and so on. So we greatly appreciate your guys' support. Help out the channel today by liking the video. $5 from Grant says, is catastrophize a word? Going to throw that in the vocabulary soon? If so, in a real note, worried about the run game with Sayamalo. Thoughts? So in terms of the run game there, I am also a little bit worried if Sayamalo has to be out for any extended period of time. Now, it sounds like his injury with the pec is not super serious, and he's kind of week to week, day to day at this point. So we'll see if he plays against the Chargers. I'm sure by the time this video comes out, we'll have an answer on that. Maybe not. We'll see. But, if he can't play, that's going to be something that concerns me, because before they went to the jumbo personnel packages in the first 3 weeks, this run game was one of the worst in the game. So you take away the jumbo personnel packages and the effectiveness of those jumbo personnel looks. I don't know if this run game is going to be able to be what it can be, when he's out of the lineup. So hopefully he can play. $5 from Czar Craigs is with how this draft is looking. If you were in charge, would you still go QB in round 1, or would you beg Aaron Rodgers to stay and wait until 2027 to draft the QB? Obviously, it all depends on what opportunities are there and how many quarterbacks come out that are round 1 eligible and all that different stuff, Craig. But, generally speaking, what I would like to have happen is Aaron Rodgers comes back for another season and you draft a quarterback that you really believe in the first round. Or maybe that's a trade-up situation. Maybe someone falls to you. I think that's the best setup because, I think if the Steelers believed in Will Howard more, they wouldn't have waited to the 6th round to draft him. Obviously, there's Will Howard. There's a reason why he went in round 6. He's not a perfect, round 1 caliber prospect or anything like that. If you have an opportunity to get somebody that you think can be a superstar that can compete with Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson in this division, not to mention Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Drake May in the conference for years to come, I would go and get that guy and have them sit a year behind Aaron Rodgers to learn the system, to develop, and you can compete for a Super Bowl another year and then hand the keys off to a young quarterback that has already spent a full year in the league learning from one of the best in the game. I think that's the best way to transition from a win now kind of, short-term kind of solution with Aaron Rodgers to a long-term solution with hopefully your next franchise quarterback that can turn into a star player like Big Ben was and get this team into Super Bowl contention for many years to come. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Do you want Aaron Rodgers as the Steelers QB1 in 2026? Give me a yes or a no down there in the comments section. I certainly do at this point. We'll see if anything changes, like if he gets a big major injury or something like that. Knock on wood, hopefully that doesn't happen. But, at this point, with the way he's playing, I would certainly want Aaron Rodgers back in 2026. That'll be it for this week's mailbag, guys. Thank you so much for all of your questions. I greatly appreciate all of your guys' support. Until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers.